Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Tea Time Tuesdays. Those of you who are joining and those who will be go ahead and like and share this broadcast. Just excited to be here with all of you this evening. All right, Tea Time Tuesday. Just wanted to have a little West Indies kind of Jamaican vibe. I love it. I love it. I love it. Good evening, everybody. I hope you were jamming alongside me. Hey, man. Hey, man. All right. So I'm excited about it. Thank you guys for joining this evening. This is our Tea Time Tuesday, our evening session. And I'm just excited to be here with all of you this evening. And, just thankful for the opportunity to come to you this evening with a great time and be able to share and be able to, talk about a few things, because we know tea time is a time of pause, reset, and building resilience, right? And so we're just excited to be able to do that this evening. Go ahead and tell me where you are located. All right. Share that this evening. And I'm just excited again to be on this evening. And so I'm going to go ahead without further ado, and I'm just going to share our tea of the month, tea of the week, excuse me, not the month, but the week. All right. I have my special drink here. And what's your special drink? Go ahead and tell me what your special drink is for this evening. But our tea of the week is lavender and rose tea. Oh my goodness. I love this tea because it is so relaxing. We know that lavender brings a sense of relaxation, a sense of calmness, and the rose just brings the floral part in there. So it's just such a great combination, not so robust, but it's so relaxing. And so what are your tea that you're having this evening? All right, East Point. All right, East Point, Georgia. All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Sharon. Hi, how are you? All right. Thank you for joining. All right. Hey, Mon. Hey, so our executive director, Patrick Brown. All right. And so that is our tea of the week. All right. And so again, lavender rose tea. Have any of you ever tried lavender rose tea before? I love anything with lavender. I love lavender smells. I love anything where it will cause me to relax. Let's see any comments coming in. All right. All right. Good evening. All right. Drinking water tonight. Okay. All right. And you're having coconut milk. Okay. So Sharon, I'm having something. I don't need to go to Starbucks. So I'm having something that has coconut milk in it. So it's like a strawberry cran, and I put coconut milk on the top of it, and I ice it out. It's really, really good. I love it. I like coconut milk. So I have my coconut rendition to this evening. Okay. You never had it before. Okay. All right. All right. How can you pause after the music? Hey, I just wanted to bring in my flavor, my West Indies flavor, a part of who I am. And I heard it. I said, I love this. I think I'm going to have this on tea time. All right. So thank you all for joining. Please remember to like and share this broadcast. I'm excited about the broadcast tonight. I'm just excited to be here with all of you this evening. And so we are observing Black History Month as well. I do not have our flyer, but we are observing Black History Month. And I know that that Caribbean West Indies feel just brings us and settles us into that place. So remember to like and share. If you haven't liked Tea Time or our YouTube channel, please go ahead and like and share. And if you know somebody that will benefit from our Tea Time, if they can't make it in the evening, we have Tea Time at the beginning, the first, and we'll have make that announcement first Tuesdays, where you'll be able to attend at noontime. So we have two different times, and it's good to have variation. So then if you can't attend one time, you can attend another time. Also, just a quick side note is that you can go back and also watch our programs. Okay, that's why you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel, so you can go back, you can watch Tea Times from way back when we got started, mostly, and just a lot of them, just to kind of refresh you. All right. And so we know that Tea Time is a time of pause, resetting, and building resilience. And so now we are heading towards our time of pause, which we're about to locate ourselves. Good evening, everyone. As you're coming on, please share your drink of choice. All right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to locate ourselves. This is going to be a time we just kind of just pause and just take a moment after the busy day. We're just going to pause and allow ourselves to relax, allow our minds to calm down, our thoughts to calm down, and just allow the calm to enter your atmosphere. All right, so we're going to locate ourselves. Just take a couple of deep breaths. Maybe close your eyes, relax your shoulders, move your head around. Just a few more seconds. Mm-hmm. All right, that was great. Did you guys enjoy that locate yourself? Did you see that awesome water? I'm looking forward to getting back to the water, and I'm looking forward to getting back to the warmth. But did you guys enjoy that time of pausing so that you can reset, so that you can calm down from the day? I know we've all had really, really productive days or whatever we've been doing. And now this is our time for us, and for us to be able to calm ourselves, calm our minds, relax our shoulders and just take deep breaths and just be able to locate ourselves. I love that part. And the thing about locating yourself is that you can do it at any time. You can be anywhere. You can be at work before a meeting or a conversation, or after a meeting. Sometimes after a meeting as well. So when you can take the opportunity and just close your eyes, even if it's for a few seconds, to just locate yourself and breathing. I'm telling you, it actually helps, and it helps to calm your nervous system as well. And we want to make sure that we embed healthy things in our lives to help us to maintain a good balance, and allowing ourselves to calm down, or just allowing ourselves to just sit still for just a moment, because we're always moving around. And so this evening, we're going to be talking about a subject that may have talked about before, but as I say, dig deeper. Okay, so we're just going to dig a bit deeper tonight. It's been a while since we probably talked about it, and it's something that we're all familiar with. All right, and so we're going to be talking about what does healthy boundaries look like. Okay. And so I'm going to pose that question to you, and I want you guys to engage. I'm looking for your engagement tonight. So I want you to engage and tell us so that we are a community so that we can share different things and everybody can pick up nuggets here and pick up nuggets there. I hope you have your tea time journal and your drink of choice. I'm going to take a sip of my drink now. It's so refreshing. I have that coconut milk in there. It's so refreshing. So, good evening to everybody who has joined us this evening, who has joined us. And tonight we're going to be speaking about what does healthy boundaries look like. And I'm posing that question to you. I want you to go ahead and type it in. What does healthy boundaries look like to you? What does it look like to you? And for me, I'm going to say not only is it protecting my peace, but it also strengthens my relationships and it honors who I am as a person, as authentically me. So, what if you can go ahead and type in the chat? If you have a comment, give me or tell me what does healthy boundaries look like? What does that look like to you? What's your perspective on healthy boundaries? And while you're doing that, I'm gonna move on. But then after I move on with this, I'm gonna pose a question at the end of this. So why healthy boundaries? Why does it matter that we have healthy boundaries? How is it beneficial to us? And so with healthy boundaries, it serves as safeguards and it protects our identity and our overall well-being. And we know that with the Renewal Center, with our tea time, we're about well-being, we're about resetting, we're about building resilience. And so, in order to build resilience, sometimes we need to make sure that we have boundaries enforced. Now, there's different aspects of boundaries that I'm going to talk about, but right now we're just going to keep it right here. We're just talking about just why do we need healthy boundaries? Go ahead and put it in the chat if you have a comment. Welcome everybody to tea time. Why do healthy boundaries matter? It's because of it helps us to kind of what we'll accept and what we'll not accept from others, and it creates a building or foundation for respectful interactions. Okay, so that's just some of it. And without clear boundaries, what happens? People find themselves, you sometimes, for me, I can say without the healthy boundaries, sometimes I feel overwhelmed. I start having different feelings and emotions. I become exhausted if there's a constant place where boundaries are not enforced, and then I have these kind of negative thoughts and negative emotions that compound over time. So sometimes things, it may start off okay, but if it keeps repeating itself, it can compound over time, and it's damaging sometimes to mental well-being or mental health, and also to our relationships and those that we're involved with and deal with daily. All right, so I see a couple of comments that have come in. All right. All right, and safeguarding your well-being. That's really good. Safeguarding your well-being. Thank you so much for sharing that. Found favor. Patrick says, to be a steward of what has been entrusted to me. Absolutely. Now you say that, Patrick, and I'm going to pull on you a little bit. What do you mean? What has been entrusted to you? When you say that, can you elaborate on what has been entrusted to you? All right. You also said healthy without harshness and being clear, but not cruel. Absolutely. Absolutely. We don't want to use it as an excuse to be mean or cruel or nasty, because sometimes, you can get so frustrated with it. Sometimes those types of behaviors will come out. All right. Found favor says, without healthy boundaries, we can open ourselves to being harmed. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Patrick says, like the channel, share the link. All right. He says, like the channel and share the link. There's a punchline right there. All right. So that is good. And you guys share some really good things and some really good points regarding safeguarding, being true to yourself, and not even a reason to just, because sometimes when we hear boundaries, we have this attitude, and I'm just gonna cut them off, and this, kind of that kind of attitude such as that. But we're talking about healthy boundaries and why healthy boundaries matter. All right. And Sharon, I think you said walking away from draining situations. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that tonight. So we're going to dig even deeper with this. And so when boundaries, they have to be clear. And so when boundaries aren't clear, we may experience sometimes fear. We may get frustrated. We even may, sometimes feel guilty. And I even read, because I read about this a lot. I forgot the therapist's name, but she said sometimes we experience resentment. And I was like, wow, that's very interesting. We experience resentment. Now, when we say, what are boundaries? What are boundaries? All right. So I'm going to be asking a lot of different questions. You guys can chime in. I'm going to continue to move forward. As you chime in, I'll go ahead and show your comments and what you're sharing, because we're community and won't be able to share so everybody can gain something from it. Make sure you have your tea time notebook and you have your drink. And so, like, boundaries. Okay. So when we think about that, we think about boundaries as it's like an invisible line. It's kind of like, have you ever had like the invisible fence for they have it for the dogs or pets? And it's like, they can only go so far, but there is a fence there, but it's invisible, but it is a boundary that they cannot go past, when they're, and I've seen it, it's very interesting, but you can't physically see it with the eye, but it is there to alert, hey, you can't go past this. And so sometimes I'm using that analogy as invisible lines. It's basically lines that define, a certain type of behavior from others and yourself, and guidelines that help us to engage with the world and things like that. So it's really important. So as I was reading about it, and I said we're going to dig deeper about it, I will begin to see in this particular, and I took a note. Let me pull my note up from it. And it says it's multidimensional. Boundaries can be it can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be mental, it can be time related or financial. Okay. And so each serves as a sense of purpose and uniqueness. And so they're protecting different aspects of our life. So it's not just the boundaries of just a relationship or people in my life. It can actually be your time. It can actually be your finances, or different things like that. It can be emotional or physical. So it's a lot of different aspects when we talk about boundaries and where they need to be established. And then I think one of you made a comment about just the protection. It's balanced protection, right? So healthy relationships, it has a balance between being open and being self-protective, but allowing, niceness, allowing gentle or genuine authenticity, and not without losing yourself. And so we're talking about this tonight because we live in such a fast-paced type world where our time and who we are is required, our finances and who we are, different things, different aspects that over time can take a toll on who we are. And it can cause those negative feelings and those feelings of, mistrust, or those feelings of not feeling appreciated. It's just so many aspects to it, but I'm going to get to what I can this evening. And you guys can chime in on your thoughts about what I shared about what are boundaries. So one is an invincible kind of line. It's multidimensional, meaning it is different aspects of our lives, and it helps with, just having a balance. Okay. Now, the types of, I'm going to dig deeper with the multidimensional part about boundaries. And so physical, when I say physical, What comes to mind for you when you think about physical? Physical, and I'm not trying to be so detailed or deep, but it can come down to physical contact, handshaking, hugs, maintaining personal space, controlling who has access to you. But one thing I want to say that Patrick shared was, you know, it's done in a nice way. It's not done where you're harsh, where you're mean, where you're nasty. That's not what I'm saying. But people, you can have these type of physical boundaries. And then there's the emotional aspect of it. It's maybe you may not want to discuss certain things or certain topics. It may be sensitive. It may be a topic, and you may, maybe protecting your feelings from any type of thing that will come up, anything type of manipulation or invalidation or anything like that. So there's a boundary even emotionally, right? And so sometimes it's okay to say, I choose not to discuss this, not at this moment, not at this time. And it's not being mean, it's just you're choosing not to. That is a boundary that is enforced, and it also allows the individual that you're dealing with or the situation that you're in, it allows them to hold a certain amount of respect for you to know, okay, they're not comfortable maybe talking about something. It may be a sensitive topic, or you just don't want to share at that particular time. That is a part of having a boundary. Okay, that's a part. So there's the physical, there's the emotional, then there's time. Setting, oh goodness, and this is something that I really had to work on. Setting clear limits on work hours, setting limits on my social media use. See, one thing that I do want to say, even when we're understanding boundaries, is there's an accountability on us. Okay, so these boundaries have to be enforced or mandated or set by us. Sometimes it's not just other people who violate, but sometimes it's about what we allow. So I'm in control of how much I'm on social media. I'm in control of, my hours and limiting my hours at work, or the commitments, or how I use or preserve my personal time. That is up to me. And so when we think about healthy boundaries, what we're thinking: physical, emotional, time. Also, we're thinking about material and financial. Now, this this one here is just like, okay. And I know sometimes we want what we want, and so there has to be a boundary even with material or financial. And you guys can chime in with your thoughts, chime in with your feedback. Basically, when I say material or financial, I'm speaking of deciding when and how much to share, as far as your belongings, as far as your money, as far as being clear about your expectations and lending expectations as well. All right. So I see a comment that has come in. Guardians to keep you focused and on track. Thank you so much for sharing that, Found Favor. You said self-regulating. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. Patrick says maybe saying I need to pause before responding. That is good. I like that, because sometimes, and I have been there, when someone is engaging, you may feel an immediate need to respond. And here, Patrick saying, take time to pause, but I need to reflect on that. Now, I do that a lot now. It's just like give me a minute. I need to process that. I can't give you the answer right now. Allow me to process what's going on. Those things are boundaries, and it helps to regulate your interactions with people. And so even the mental aspect of boundaries is respecting people with their, everybody has a different opinion, while holding firm to my own. Okay. So that means that I respect your perspective. I respect what you think, but I'm holding firm on my own condition, my own values and beliefs without compromise. That's a boundary. Okay. So types of healthy boundaries are physical, emotional, time, material and financial, and mental. Okay. Okay. So those are some types of healthy boundaries. And I want you guys, I have a question I want you to share. Out of those particular ones that I stated, which one do you feel like you need more work on? And if you don't want to share in the chat, Maybe write it down in your journal. Physical, emotional, time, material or financial, and mental. Okay. So we just gone over the types of healthy boundaries, and then what healthy boundaries look like in movement, in action. Okay. So you say, what does that look like? What does um boundaries look like in action, meaning like moving forward, meaning in that you're taking action, that you're taking accountability? And so one I would say is saying no freely, declining requests, without any guilt or fear of rejection. Your no, if I say no, it doesn't require me to give you an excuse or give you any type of justification. And sometimes, and I've been there, I'm just going to be just really candid. Sometimes I've been there where you just want to support, but you're pushed to the limit all week long. And so you sacrifice your time, you sacrifice different things. And don't get me wrong, it's important to support one another as a community. But sometimes it's okay to say no if you don't have the bandwidth to do it. Sometimes it's just not there. And then you know what I find out? Like when I would do that, because now I don't have a problem saying no, I'm not coming. I can't do it. But doesn't mean that I don't wish you well on your endeavors. Just this time I'm not able to make it because I'm pressing myself to the point. So what I would found out would happen when I wasn't enforcing that was I would get irritated. I would get short. And then once I was aware of it, I said, I have to take accountability because I'm not allowing myself to get the proper rest. If I would say no and just don't worry about it and don't feel pressured, I would have got the adequate amount of rest, which would eliminate this place of frustration. And so, how do you guys handle that? What healthy boundaries look like in action? How do you handle saying no freely? No is a sentence. How do you feel about that? Have you ever been there in a place where you're just pushing yourself to the limit and not considering your own time, not considering your own, like, not just how you feel, but where you are, your bandwidth, your limitation? All right. So you guys can share. All right. I see a comment that has come in. All right. For me, continue to guard my time, going to bed and not taking calls afterward, even if I do go to sleep right away. That's a boundary. And I have had to tell people, look, and I'm with you. I'm with you, Found Favorite. Hey, my thing is the morning. Okay. I'm not the biggest excited morning person. And so sometimes I have to tell people, hey, I'm not taking any calls before 11 o'clock. Do not call me before 11. If it's an emergency or something, send a text. And I realized when I started doing that, people started respecting it. And I was able to get myself together. It wasn't that I was mean or snappy. It just takes me longer when I get up to kind of get into the process of the day. I'm thinking, I'm reflecting, I'm praying, I'm doing a couple of things for myself, in the morning, and I don't want to be interrupted. And before that, I was really allowing people to interrupt my time. I would take phone calls in the morning. Now it's different for certain things, like every now and then, but some people, I don't know, they just be real overexcited in the morning, and that is not me. Okay. That's not me. I'm not. It takes me a minute, but I'm not nasty, but it takes me a minute. All right. And so let me see. I see Renita says something. Who's this? Let me see. My screen. Yes. She says, I continue to work on mental boundaries. There are times when let me see. My screen is so small. Give me one moment. The small is too much. All right. And gets overstimulated. Absolutely. I am learning to step back and remove the excess stimuli so that I can have some peace of mind. I agree with you. Okay. I agree with me. Bear with me, everybody. My I have to increase this screen here because the writing is really little. And as you're doing that, just continue to, that's much better. Have those comments come in. All right. Okay. All right. And Patrick says, thank you, Renita, for sharing. I have learned mental boundaries, recognize I can't, well, hold on one second. I'm sorry. I have learned healthy boundaries, recognize I can walk with you, but cannot live for you. That's the comment from Patrick there. Thank you so much for sharing. All right. And Tori B says, I have to say to myself, not my monkey, not my circus, in order to just say no, in order to keep my inner peace. All right. And I'll share that comment from her. Thank you guys so much for commenting. I appreciate that. Continue to engage. I'm really this is something I'm really, really working on. And so not only saying no, but appropriate sharing, you know, sharing some personal information at the right pace. And you said something earlier, Patrick, like, I don't have to give an immediate response right away. All right. I don't have to overshare, but I don't have to completely shut down either. Now, that was something that I worked on, is the shutting down part. Because I would just be like, I'm just forget it. And I would shut down. But now I'm learning to deal with that and just say, hey, not right now. Not right now, not this time. This is not the right moment or the right time, and leave it at that. And when I'm ready to talk about it, I'll be able to share. And then also there's mutual respect. So if I have boundaries, I have to honor other people's boundaries while firmly upholding my own without an apology. I'm not going to apologize because I don't want you to call me at 10 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Now, only a few people can do that. Okay. Now, that's that ministry and things of that nature can call me in the morning. Okay. But just people calling with random conversations, no. And I'm not going to apologize for it. You call me after 11 o'clock, 11 a.m. And if I'm available, I'll get with you. Sharon is saying, learning to say no without explanation to keep my calm and peace. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sharon. There's some really good points that you guys are sharing this evening. So what we just talked about was, what does the boundaries look like in action? Saying no, appropriately sharing, a mutual respect, and clear communication. I don't need to discuss certain things, or certain sensitive topics. I've learned this from, relationships with people. Some things are just sensitive and need not to be discussed. And if a person doesn't want to discuss it, or if I choose not to discuss something of a sensitive nature topic, then that's just what it is. Okay. And so I begin to understand it as I begin to mature with relationships and people, that some things are just sensitive. Right. And so I was thinking about unhealthy boundaries and understanding the spectrum of it, define the middle ground when boundaries are firm but flexible. So what would you say, and I want some engagement from you tea timers out there, about rigid boundaries? Okay, when I say rigid, like avoiding, keeping others at a distance, fearing rejection. It kind of results in isolation and loneliness. Okay. So that's kind of like the unhealthy part. It's like a rigid boundaries, okay? Because some may not be healthy and some may not be good. So I want your feedback on that. Avoiding, certain types of, I don't want to say intimacy because I'm speaking from different relationships, keeping people at a distance, kind of standoffish. Why? Because there may be a place where you don't want to be rejected. There may be, with rejection, and then what happens is, because you think you might get rejected, or they might think they're to get rejection, that causes isolation and loneliness. You begin to isolate yourself. You begin to pull back. And so the boundaries have to be healthy, not diabolical. Okay. So the balance between, like I said, the middle and the firm. And so it's enough to protect you, but it's flexible enough to allow genuine connection. So you can't be so, it's like it has to be a balance. You enforce your boundaries, but I allow myself to connect, because what happens when you don't, sometimes you can cut yourself off from community. Sometimes you can cut yourself off from receiving the help that you need, or receiving what we need as human beings, because we're made for connection, but you still have your boundaries, even though we are made for connection. All right, I see a comment come in, and it says, as a leader and friend, be mindful that rescuing feelings loving, but it quietly robs others of growth and yourself of peace. All right. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing. And that is Patrick's comment there. I appreciate that. That's really real. As a leader and friend, be mindful. All right. That rescuing feelings loving, but it quietly robs others of growth and yourself of peace. Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. Yeah, that's powerful. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. So there's a point where unhealthy boundaries, where you may be oversharing, saying yes when you know you're uncomfortable, and accepting disrespect. It leads to burnout and resentment. Now, I think some of us have been there, where we're saying yes, and we know we can't really do it, and then it becomes accepting disrespect, and it leads to burnout and resentment and different things that we may feel. We might start feeling, negative feelings, having negative thoughts, negative perceptions about a situation, because we're going to that place of burnout. We may start resenting and having certain thoughts about people. So we want to make sure that we eliminate that by saying, knowing and understanding our boundaries, and knowing and understanding the unhealthy ones. Now, what do you think? And I'm asking this question to all you tea timers out there. What are some signs, or what are some things that you've experienced where you understand you need to enforce healthier boundaries? I'm just going to wait a second. I want to see if you guys respond, and I'll go ahead and share, and I'm going to take a sip of my drink. All right. It's pretty quiet out there. So I'm going to go ahead. So signs you need healthier boundaries is you're exhausted. Chronic exhaustion. And I've experienced it. You feel overwhelmed. You feel depleted. Even after getting rest, a full night of rest, you still feel depleted and you feel overwhelmed. That's a sign that you need, more healthier boundaries. I see a comment has come in. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to read that one. All right. Toriana B says, understanding and knowing what my triggers and boundaries are with people I will love far away with respect. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Renita says, healthy boundaries have to be taught and modeled. For some, past traumas influence how those boundaries are formed and may need time and help with reestablishing healthy boundaries. Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is where the awareness comes in for that particular situation that Renita has shared. People have to be made aware of certain behavior. And once you're aware of certain behavior, because awareness is power. Where there's lack of awareness and understanding, you don't understand and you don't know. And so once you've been made aware, whether that's through a teach, whether that's through it being modeled, whether it's through a therapist, or sometimes the awareness comes through the hard knocks of life. Okay, now I can contest to that. Okay, sometimes people go through different things and then there becomes an awareness once you receive the information. And so that's why it's important that healing is in community. Because when you have community, you have people to bring different aspects that brings awareness to you. You say, wait a minute, I do that. Like, okay, so it brings the awareness that brings the illumination of light, that brings the revelation to understand where you are. And so I'm glad that you made that statement, Renita, because it's true. Because if they don't know, they don't understand, they don't. And so they have to be, formed. Those boundaries have to be formed and fashioned where maybe through their life there were maybe none. But that's where the community comes in. And things like what we're doing right now, where we bring a light to it to help people, those who don't understand and those who deal with certain life situations. Being rigid closes relationships. Healthy boundaries regulate them. Thank you so much for sharing that, Patrick. Thank you so much for sharing that. Absolutely. 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 All right. And so let's get back to talking about signs of healthier boundaries. Okay. Now, I was just talking about like the chronic exhaustion. And building resentment. Okay. Now, when I say this is like where you are resenting others or you're avoiding certain people in situations. It becomes an avoidance because you just don't want to deal with it. You just don't want to deal with it. Okay. And so it's like that resentment builds up because there's no boundaries enforced. And so because there's not the chronic exhaustion, building, resentment, no personal time. Okay. And I know Renita says something about just that time. We need personal time. And so no personal time, like lacking time for yourself or feeling responsible for everyone else's emotions. I can't take that on. I can't do it. I'm just being, I can't, I won't. And I'm not going to say can, but I choose not to. I'm going to rephrase what I'm saying, because you have to have some time for yourself. And it doesn't have to be big. It can be just, I do this thing where I make special drinks like the coconut and the strawberry, or I make refreshing water and I just kind of sit. I'll put the lemons in it. I know it sounds little, but it's big to me because my mind will go, okay, I need to do something real quick for myself. I may take a time to pause. I may cook something that's healthier, it's little things that help to maintain boundaries. I can't do anything major. Maybe I can't go on a vacation right at this particular moment. But that's why, like in the mornings, as I set my time aside, it just made me be reflecting. I want to say something about me. For me, it's just sitting in quiet. And I know sometimes people are like, you don't have a TV? Nope. TV's off, no social media. I'm just sitting in quiet and peace and allowing myself to collect my thoughts. That is my personal time. And it helps me to keep balance because it allows me to slow down. And so another thing we need to understand about boundaries is this feeling guilty when you're declining. Difficulty saying no, or feeling, intense guilt, or when you set limits. Sometimes people don't know, but sometimes, you feel that pressure, to feel like you have to fulfill and do something, or, sometimes they say, well, you don't care or you're not supportive. Listen, I just don't have the bandwidth. And so that's where we have to have those healthy boundaries. Now, I'm going to just share a few things with you guys if you want to take notes on 4 things on how to set healthy boundaries, just 4 steps. And if you want to write this down, you can, or you can come back and watch it however you want to do it. Write it in your journal. One is reflect. Okay. Reflect, communicate, implement, and sustain. Okay. So you're taking time to reflect. So setting boundaries is something that can be improved and practiced. Okay. And it's kind of like you know, what Renita was saying. It has to be formed. And sometimes you need help establishing or reestablishing them. And so it helps to improve your it's a practice. So you have to show yourself some grace. Be patient with yourself as you learn to identify your limits, as you learn to communicate them assertively, but kind of without I want to say, like, over explaining. Okay. And enforcing them even when faced with resistance. So one, we want to reflect, we want to communicate, we want to implement, and once they're implemented, then we want to sustain them. Okay? And sometimes things have to be reestablishing boundaries, like Renita said. So sometimes you have to reflect and think, okay, I need to reestablish this boundary. I need to communicate. Show yourself some grace, when you're trying to do something to reestablish or set things. So those are the things I want you to write down, the 4 steps. Reflect, communicate, implement, and sustain. Okay. And you want to maintain them. So sustaining is only meaning you want to maintain them. And that may be starting small. Be realistic about boundaries, situations. Gradually build yourself up over time to enforce them, even if it starts small. So don't be so hard on yourself that you got to come in with the full force. Sometimes it just may be small boundaries. And then you have to prepare sometimes for people to resist. Sometimes, or situations. I'm not going to just be people because we're talking about holistically, like who we are with boundaries. But this particular thing, sometimes there'll be a pushback. And you have to kind of remind yourself why these boundaries matter to your well-being. And I want you guys, if you're on right now, I want you to type in the chat, why does these boundaries matter to your well-being? Why do they matter to your well-being? Okay. I know you're quiet out there, and I know this is something that I was reading about, and I said I wanted to share for tea time because we live in a culture or environment where everything is pressed, and sometimes we can lose the focus of having a boundary, and then we begin to experience resistance. We begin to experience resentment. We begin to have negative thoughts. We begin to feel burnt out because the boundaries need to be reestablished, or they may not have been there. Okay, or they haven't been sustained or maintaining them. Okay, and so that's why we're sharing tonight, because awareness brings power. Reinforce who you are. Reinforce your authenticity. Say to yourself, my needs are valid and I deserve respect. Sometimes you have to, like, in your mind, and I've done it, reinforce those things to yourself. Okay. And it's pretty quiet out there. So I'm going to ask for your feedback in a moment, because we're going to get ready to close. And just have respect. You want to honor others' boundaries. Okay. So it's just not about me and my boundaries. I have to have respect for other people's boundaries. Okay. And expect mine to be respected as well. What that does in relationships is that it creates a mutual understanding. And it makes it for the relationship to be in a more healthier place. It keeps the offenses down. It keeps the burnout down. It keeps that heavy weighing down. So when we think about healthy boundaries equal self-respect plus strong relationships. What's your feedback? Go ahead and share me your feedback tonight. Excuse me, my allergies are really it's starting to go in. You know how I get. It's bad. It's bad here in Georgia. So it hasn't got to that point yet, but it's starting up. But boundaries empower us to protect our space and our energy and who we are. It honors our values. They're not walls to keep people out. They're just guidelines that help others to understand how I would like to be treated. Now, when they're, again, I talked about um, sustained. When they're sustained or practiced, they improve communication. You begin to feel more comfortable communicating with people. It reduces conflicts, misunderstandings, and it deepens trust in the relationship or the situation. And so we can start that today, or we can re-establish some boundaries today. And I want you to have your tea time journal, and I want you to take a moment sometime this week when you have time to just think about what areas do I need to reestablish or reinforce? How can I move for better? What's not working for me? You know, honor your limits. And when you honor your limits, and this is something I learned, even with working in the type of job that I work in, and the demand on the position and the demand on what I'm doing, um, I learned to honor my limits, and others will do the same. I realized that teaching people the boundaries in my life, it helps to maintain a healthy, more respectful relationship. And so that is our tea time tonight. I want to ask you, how are you going to enforce those boundaries? How are you going to have clear communication? Do you need to work on your communication? Do you need to work on how to say no? And the thing I want you to do also is this is not to bang you over the head and make you feel horrible and bad, but what it is bringing awareness to certain things and behaviors so things can improve. And so we know that tea time is a time to pause, reset, and build resilience. And so a part of the building resilience is a part of understanding who we are authentically and how we establish boundaries. You don't have to be mean. We don't have to be nasty. We don't have to condemn. We don't have to talk down on anybody. But what we can do is embrace who we are as people and as human beings. And these things make for a healthier environment for you. You'll be able to work more efficiently. You'll be able to deal with your coworkers better when you're in a better place. So the people you deal with, if you're a leader, you'll be able to lead better because you've established these boundaries. And so sometimes when boundaries aren't there, it breeds disrespect. And so we sometimes have to reinforce that, not in a malice, mean way, but just to say, hey, this is not a healthy place for me, and I need to reestablish some things when you become aware. And so Sharon says, helps to establish and maintain understanding, value, and quality relations within our relationships. Thank you so much for sharing that. And that is our tea time this evening. But before you go, I want to give us some announcements. We know we got to do our announcements. And while I'm doing the announcements, I want you to go ahead and share. And I want you to take some time this week to write in your journal. And I've been doing the same thing because I need some areas that need to be tightened up. But I also know I need to show grace to myself and grace to others, right? And so just being candid and clear about it. Some areas need some tightening, some areas need some reestablishing, and so we're all in this together. We're all a community, and then within the community, healing takes place. And so I am renewal. All right. And so that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share a few announcements with you all this evening, and then I will let you go. All right. And so we have the New You Digital Discipleship, which happens on Sundays at 10 a.m. Listed here on the screen is the Zoom information and the password. This Sunday coming up, we are going to be, I think it's the first Sunday, we're going to be live on this YouTube channel. That's why it's important that you like and subscribe and invite someone to join us. If someone doesn't have a place to fellowship, or they need to be encouraged and they need to hear a sound word from God, invite them to join us for the New You Digital Discipleship. All right. And Tea Time Tuesdays, our first Tuesdays at 12 p.m. and the fourth Tuesday at 7 p.m., where we take time to pause, reset, and build resilience. All right. This is the opportunity to share and care with somebody. Invite them to join us for Tea Time Tuesdays here on our YouTube channel. All right, tomorrow we're looking forward to Reforming Culture, the Christology of Spiritual Formation. This is Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. And listed here is our Zoom information. Invite somebody to join us. Tomorrow we have the phenomenal Dr. Paul C. Brown, who will be facilitating and teaching tomorrow night. You do not want to miss this. Last week was actually, oh my God, it was so rich. And for those who were there last week, remember your scriptures that we have to remember for tomorrow. So I just wanted to remind everybody of that. All right, tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. And then we have our morning prayer and second Fridays at 6:30 a.m. And this month we're coming up on March. It's March 13th, okay? And it's the same link and information as Reforming Culture. So this is a time to come and pray. You don't have to turn on your camera or anything. It's 6:30 in the morning. Come and let us stand in agreement and let us pray together. The prayers have actually been phenomenal and strengthening. Then we have our grief GPS that's starting in next month, okay? And it's free. The group GPS is free for our group sessions. You can go on our website, therenewalcenters.com, to see more information on dates and times, which being held once a month. And you can go online and look at that. Also, you can sign up there, and there you will receive a welcome number, welcome email with the information to be able to join us. All right, let's get excited for the 7th prophetic gathering. All right. We have some phenomenal speakers. We have teachers here. Please, you do not want to miss this. Go ahead and register for this. Registration is open. Please go to our social media pages. If you're coming from out of state, we even have hotels blocked off. That's all in the information and the link. That cutoff date is May 18th for a hotel, but you can register all through from now or March and April until the time of the event. You don't want to miss this. This is the 7th prophetic gathering, and I'm definitely excited about that and look forward to a time of worship within the community. All right. And so we also have our Renewal Center's Women at the Well Bible Study Series, which is led and taught, facilitated by Pastor Carmela. And you can join us. Here is listed the dates. The next date is March 14th. Please plan to attend. This is a place of softness, a place where you can come and just be you and be a lady. It's not anything deep, but it helps to restore us and refresh us as women. Pastor Mel has been doing a phenomenal job of leading this. You don't want to miss it. And I'm going to share with you also the new link for the new Zoom link. Please take note of this. It's here on the screen. Here you can join. No registration is needed, but just please make a note that this is the new Zoom ID and password. And so you definitely want to share this with other women and definitely want to be a part. Look forward to you being at the Women of the Well Bible Study Series. And now is our time for giving. All right, our digital giving. We have various platforms that you can be able to give. You can go to the renewalcenters.com/give, text to give. We have PayPal, Zelle, and a Venmo. And then if you would like, you can mail your check to P.O. Box 1381, Concord, North Carolina, 28026. Information is listed here for a time of giving. As we continue to expand and continue to be able to bring you quality in our local community, we ask that you would give. This has been a great add to you in this community. All right. And so that concludes our announcements. All right. Just at the mark. All right. And any feedback, anything anybody wants to say, please go ahead and share. We want to thank you for tuning in to our Tea Time Tuesdays evening session where we pause, reset, and build resilience. Looking forward to seeing you first Tuesday at 12 p.m. For one of our facilitators to facilitate and come on. We have built this community and it is great. And so thank you all for tuning in tonight. I hope you take the time to sit down and write in your tea time journals and share what you have received. And also, I encourage you to go back and watch some previous tea times. It can help you to give you some reminders of a few things to help you as you continue to pause, reset, and build resilience. I thank you all so much for joining us this evening for our Tea Time Tuesdays. It has been absolutely great. I'm looking forward to seeing you all next month. Until we meet again, have a great evening. Have a great time. And I see that there's not any more comments in the comments here. I'm going to check one last time to make sure. All right. I don't see anything. Okay. All right. And that will conclude our tea time. Have a great evening, everyone. Until we meet again, see you next Tuesday or see you guys tomorrow for our midweek Bible study. All right. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us.